All right, guys, welcome to quadratic equations using square roots. Okay, so before we even get started over here, you can see we got this little thing over here on the right where it says positive equals 2, 0 equals 1, negative equals 0. Okay, so this is an important concept to remember with square roots. So what we're saying here is if the answer that we get when we're square rooting something is positive, then there's going to be two solutions. If the answer equals 0, then it's going to be one solution, which is going to be 0. And if it's negative, then there will be no solutions, empty set. So if that sounds confusing, just hang with me and we'll be there in a minute. All right, so we start with this first one over here, right? We have x squared equals 121. And so what we're going to do is square root both sides, right? Whenever we do a square root, whatever we do to one side, we got to do to the other. Square root both of these guys, and then we're going to have, so 11 times 11 is 121, right? So the square root of 121 is, we're going to have 11, but remember, because it's a positive, we also need to have two solutions, so we need to have its negative, right? And what we're looking at there is negative 11 times negative 11 equals positive 121, the same as 11 times 11 is 121. So that's our first answer, right? 11 and negative 11 for that one. So we add one more step here, where this time we have x squared plus 7 equals 16, right? So all we really do here, subtract 7. Always got to do, whatever you do to one side, you got to do to the other. And we've got x squared equals 9. Right? And from here, pretty straightforward, square root both sides. And probably the only way you could go wrong is, again, we're square rooting a positive number. So what does that mean? Two solutions, right? Please don't say x equals 3 and be done. That will probably be an answer choice if you're being given multiple choice. And negative 3, right? Because negative 3 times negative 3 equals that 9, right? So the square root of 9 can be 3 or negative 3. All right, we'll step it up a little bit here. X squared minus 28 equals negative 28. All right, so if you look at that, you're unsure what to do. The first thing is always we want to try and get this x squared by itself if possible. All right, so we'll get rid of this guy. We'll add 28. This thing's history. Add 28 to this side. All right, so we have negative 28, plus 28. It's going to leave us with 0, right? And what do we remember? What are our rules? X squared equals 0. We go back to our rules. If it equals 0, there's only one solution, and that solution is 0. So don't even mess with the square roots. You're going to know this answer is 0 once we're down to x squared equals 0. Okay, we got two left here. So this one, x squared minus 35 equals 29. Starts off pretty similar, right? So we're going to just add that 35, get rid of it. All right, so that we're just with the x squared by itself. All right, 35 and 29, 49, 59, 69, 64. And we have x squared by itself, right? That's a terrible looking x. X squared equals 64. Okay, now, same thing we've been doing, right? We're just kind of getting used to this process. Okay, so you square root both sides, and remember we got that positive number, which means two solutions rather than one, yes? X equals 8 times 8 is 64, but negative 8 times negative 8 is also 64, so we got to include there. X equals 8 and negative 8. All right, last one here. So we have 6x squared plus 45 equals 0. So we made it a little more complicated here, right? Just because we now have the 6, right? So we don't just have that x squared to deal with. All right, let's get rid of this 45 on the left side. Okay, just like that. Boom. Now we have 6x squared, because we got rid of that 45, or that negative 45. 6x squared equals 45. Okay, now what do we do? Got to get rid of that 6, right? So divide each side by 6. Always remember, whatever you do to one side, you got to do to the other. Okay, now we're down to something kind of similar to what we've been seeing in this video. X squared, 45 divided by 6 is 9, right there. And we're just doing our friend the square root. On both sides, that's square root. Okay, when you have an x squared, a square root gets rid of it, right? So then it just leaves you with the x. The square root of 9 is 3. 3 times 3 is 9. And trying to remember our rules about positives. If we have a positive square root, there's two solutions. It will be 3 and negative 3. All right, so that was pretty quick. Gets us through all the ideas on quadratic equations using square roots.